Hello, this is the introduction to Assignment 7 on the WPF path.
So assignment 7 is broken up into two exercises. The first exercise is to modify the layout of the existing vending machine, and the second exercise is to add the code that supports that. Exercise 7.1 will modify the WPF vending machine layout to include a tab control. And this tab control will have two tab items, one labeled Vend, that contains essentially everything that we did in the last exercise, and a second tab item labeled Service. And this is where a service worker could service the machine. In our case, we're just going to be able to fill the can rack and empty any coin boxes that we have. So once you've placed a tab control on your window, the next thing you want to do is drag and drop all of the controls that you've created so far into the Vend tab item. On the Service tab item, you're going to want to create a couple of group boxes. So you could use a grid or a stack panel or a docking panel or whatever you want, but somehow you want to put a group box on that Service tab item that contains a list control. Now for the first group box, your list control could be a list view or a list box or a list control or basically whatever you like. And what this is going to do is display the number of cans of each flavor that are currently in the can rack. All right. In this same group control, you will have a button, and that button will allow a service worker to fill the can rack. In your second group box, put a list control, and this list control would be displaying the contents of a coin box. So the information you want is the denomination of the coin, how many coins of that denomination do you have in the coin box, and what the monetary value is of that number of coins. And then at the bottom, once you've listed all the other denominations, then at the bottom you'd have a total row that would say, how many coins you have all together and what they're worth. And you'll also have a button in this group box, and that group box will allow you to empty the coin box. And of course, if you've got more than one coin box, you'd want to have a list control like list view and a button that will allow the worker to empty that coin box. Now, you haven't written any code yet. We're still just constructing a layout. So with that in mind, the optional part of this exercise is to create some password protection. So put controls in this tab item that would allow you to have a password challenge, so that when you first go to this tab, it will ask you for your password, and none of the other controls will be visible. And then once you put in the correct password, the password controls disappear, and then the two group boxes appear, and the service personnel can do whatever it is they need to do. And you also want to have a way to reverse that, so you should also have a lock button. Now you'll want to use a password box control to obscure the password as it's typed in. So then 7.2 is where we actually write the code to support this. And so what we're going to want to do is add an observable collection of string arrays to your coin box. And then coin box would populate that as it changes. And since it's an observable collection, you can easily link it in the view through the view model to your WPF application. You'll also want to write an event procedure for emptying the coin box, and similarly an observable collection to can rack to implement its display data. One thing to note, the tab item does not have a click event, so you will need to add a label or a label control to the tab item header, so you can use, for example, mouse left button down event, so that the service tab item is properly updated whenever it's clicked on. And optionally, if you did add the controls to support a password challenge, this is where you'd want to write the code that would support those. So this may involve creating new classes that would be able to inform the view about whether the machine is locked or unlocked, and then bind to the visibility attribute of those controls so that they're visible or invisible based on whether or not the machine is password locked.
And that's the introduction to Assignment 7 on the WPF path.